Tom Harrison's Saturday morning in Miami promised nothing but calm. The 35-year-old architect sipped his coffee, the bitter taste grounding him in the quiet moment. He planned a lazy day, maybe a run along the boardwalk or binge-watching a new series. His wife, Emily, had left early, kissing his cheek and mentioning a yoga session with friends. The routine felt familiar, safe. But routine can be a fragile thing, shattered in seconds. His phone buzzed on the counter, cutting through the stillness. The screen flashed Kevin's name, his childhood friend, the kind of guy who'd rather send a quick text than call out of the blue. A call from Kevin meant something was up. Tom's gut tightened as he swiped to answer. "Tom, where you at, man?" Kevin's voice was low, urgent, like he was trying not to be overheard. "Home. What's wrong?" Tom set his mug down, already sensing the shift in the air. A pause. Then Kevin's words hit like a punch. "I'm at South Beach, the nude beach part, and Emily's here, with 2 guys." Tom froze. The words didn't compute. Emily? At a nude beach? With strangers? His mind scrambled for a foothold. She'd said yoga. Friends. Not South Beach, not this. "You sure it's her?" His voice came out sharp, almost accusing, as if Kevin could be wrong. "I'm looking at her right now, Tom," Kevin said, quieter now, like he hated being the messenger. "I'm sorry, Mom." The line went silent, but Tom's pulse roared in his ears. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't need to. His hand grabbed the car keys before his brain caught up, and he was out the door, the coffee forgotten, the calm morning obliterated. Emily, his wife of 7 years, the woman who'd promised honesty in their vows, was somewhere she shouldn't be, and he needed to see it for himself. The drive to South Beach was a blur of adrenaline and dread. Tom's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as he weaved through traffic, ignoring the honks from slower drivers. His mind raced faster than the car. Was Kevin mistaken? Could it be someone who looked like Emily? But Kevin wasn't the type to jump to conclusions. He'd known Emily almost as long as Tom had. If he said it was her, it was her. The Miami sun glared through the windshield, mocking the storm brewing inside him. Every red light felt like a personal insult, each second ticking by amplifying the questions in his head. Why would she lie? Who were these guys? Had she done this before? The idea of Emily, his Emily, on a nude beach with strangers twisted his stomach into knots. He turned off the radio when a pop song grated on his nerves. Silence was better, even if it left him alone with his thoughts. As he neared South Beach, the traffic thickened, tourists and locals clogging the roads. Tom's impatience boiled over. He slammed his palm against the steering wheel at a stoplight, drawing a glance from the driver next to him. He didn't care. All he could see was the image his mind conjured. Emily laughing, carefree, with 2 men he didn't know. The thought stung worse than anything he'd felt in years. He parked in a crowded lot, the asphalt radiating heat. His sneakers hit the ground hard as he strode toward the beach, the sound of waves and distant laughter doing nothing to calm him. The nude section of South Beach wasn't far, tucked away from the main crowds, but Tom's focus was razor-sharp. He scanned the horizon, heart pounding, searching for her. He didn't know what he'd do when he found her, just that he had to. This was only the beginning. Whatever truth waited on that beach, Tom knew it would change everything. That Tom's car tore through Miami's sun-soaked streets, the engine's hum a faint echo against the chaos in his mind. The call from Kevin still burned in his ears. Emily, his wife, on a nude beach with 2 strangers. She'd kissed him goodbye that morning, her voice soft as she mentioned yoga with friends. Now, that memory felt like a blade, twisting with every mile. South Beach was close, but not close enough. Tom needed answers, and he needed them now. Traffic crawled as tourists flooded the roads, their carefree chatter spilling from open-top cars. Tom's grip tightened on the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so hard it ached. A delivery truck blocked his lane, and he swerved, barely avoiding a cyclist who shouted something he didn't catch. The delay was maddening. Every second stuck in this gridlock gave his imagination room to run wild. Emily laughing, relaxed, with men he'd never met. Men she hadn't mentioned. The thought gnawed at him, raw and relentless. He punched the horn at a sluggish SUV, earning a glare from the driver. "Move," he muttered, though no one could hear. His phone buzzed again. Kevin's name flashed on the screen. Tom ignored it. He didn't need more details to fuel the fire. He needed to see it himself. The truth was out there, on that beach, and no call could prepare him for it. A green light finally opened the road, and Tom floored it, weaving through gaps in traffic. The Miami skyline blurred past, its glossy towers indifferent to his unraveling world. He tried to focus, to find a shred of logic. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe Emily had a reason. But what reason justified lying? She'd looked him in the eye, smiled, and said she'd be at a yoga studio with Sarah, not on a nude beach with strangers. The betrayal wasn't just in her presence there. It was in the choice to hide it. His mind flashed back to last week. Emily had been distant, her phone buzzing late at night. She'd brushed it off as work, her marketing job demanding odd hours. Tom had believed her. Why wouldn't he? 7 years of marriage, countless shared moments. They were supposed to be a team. But now doubt crept in like a thief. Had she lied before? Were there other secrets tucked away behind her easy smile? The road curved toward South Beach, the ocean glinting in the distance. Tom's heart raced, not from the speed but from the weight of what he might find. He tried to picture confronting her. Would she laugh it off? Cry? Lie again? The uncertainty was worse than the anger. He didn't know what he'd say, only that he couldn't turn back. Not now. A parking lot came into view, packed with cars. Tom swerved in, tires screeching as he claimed spot. He killed the engine and sat for a moment, breathing hard. The air conditioning's hum faded, leaving only the thud of his pulse. Outside, the heat shimmered off the asphalt, and the distant crash of waves carried a mocking calm. He stepped out, slamming the door, and strode toward the beach. The nude section was just beyond the main strip, a place he'd never had reason to visit. Until today. Sand crunched under his sneakers as he moved, his eyes scanning the crowd. Families, couples, tourists, all oblivious to the storm inside him. He pushed past a group of laughing teens, their voices grating. The nude beach's boundary was marked by a discreet sign, almost hidden among the palms. Tom's stomach churned as he crossed it, the reality of what he was doing hitting hard. He wasn't just looking for Emily. He was chasing the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Ahead, bodies dotted the shoreline, some lounging, others strolling. Tom's gaze darted from one figure to another, searching for her. His phone vibrated again, but he didn't check it. Kevin could wait, Bashka. The answers were here, in the sand and sun, and Tom was seconds away from facing them. Whatever he found, it would redefine everything. His marriage, his trust, his future. The sun-scorched South Beach, but Tom felt only the heat of his own pulse as he crossed into the nude section. The discreet sign behind the palms marked a line he never thought he'd cross. Kevin's call still echoed. Emily, his wife, here with 2 strangers, not at the yoga class she'd claimed. The lie cut deeper than the act itself, and now Tom was steps away from the truth. His sneakers sank into the sand, each step heavier with the weight of what he might find. The beach buzzed with carefree energy. Laughter, waves, distant music, but Tom's focus was a laser. He scanned the crowd, his eyes darting over sunbathers and strollers. Then he saw her. Emily lounged on a striped towel, her posture relaxed, a drink in her hand. 2 men sat close, one gesturing animatedly, the other leaning back, smirking at something she said. The sight hit Tom like a physical blow. This wasn't yoga. This wasn't Sarah's studio. He stopped a few yards away, his breath shallow. Emily hadn't noticed him yet, lost in her conversation. The man gesturing, tall with a cocky grin, tossed a comment that made her laugh, a laugh Tom knew too well. The other, wiry with a tattoo, snaking down his arm, sipped a beer, his eyes flicking toward her with easy familiarity. They weren't strangers. Not entirely. Tom's hands curled into fists. He forced himself to move closer, the sand dragging at his steps. Emily's head turned, and their eyes locked. Her smile vanished, replaced by a flash of panic. She scrambled to her feet, grabbing a thin sarong and knotting it around herself, as if it could shield her from what was coming. Tom, her voice wavered, caught between surprise and guilt. What are you doing here? He crossed his arms, his stare unwavering. Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing. Yoga, right? That's what you said. The tall man stood, brushing sand from his hands. Whoa, relax, buddy. We're just chilling. His tone was light, but it carried an edge, like he was testing Tom's reaction. Tom ignored him, his eyes fixed on Emily. Who are they, Em? And don't tell me friends. You lied to me this morning. The tattooed man snorted, setting his beard down. Shit, mun. It's just a beach. No need to make a scene. Stay out of this. Tom snapped, his voice low but sharp. He turned back to Emily. Explain. Now. She hesitated, glancing at the men as if hoping for backup. None came. The tall one shifted uncomfortably, avoiding her gaze. The tattooed one just smirked, like he was enjoying the drama. Emily took a breath, her hands twisting the sarong. They're from work, Tom. Marketing team. We came here to hang out. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Tom's voice rose, drawing a few curious glances from nearby sunbathers. You looked me in the eye and said you're going to Sarah's. Now you're here, with them, on a nude beach. And I'm supposed to believe it's nothing. The tall man stepped forward, his grin gone. Look, she wanted to come. We didn't force her. Maybe you should talk to your wife instead of glaring at us. Tom's jaw tightened. He wanted to shove the guy back, to wipe that smug look off his face, but he held himself in check. This wasn't about them. Not yet. It was about Emily's choice. You don't get to talk, he said, his voice cold. This is between me and her. Emily raised her hands, her voice pleading. Tom, I swear it's not what you think. I wanted to try something new. It's just a beach, okay? I didn't do anything wrong. Then why lie? Tom's question cut through her words. If it's so innocent, why tell me you were somewhere else? She faltered, her eyes darting to the sand. I knew you wouldn't get it. You'd overreact like you're doing now. Overreact. Tom let out a bitter laugh. You're here, half naked, with two guys I've never met, and you lied to my face. What am I supposed to think him? The tattooed man stood now, tossing his beer can aside. You're embarrassing her, dude. Back off. Tom turned, his patience fraying. Say one more word, and we're going to have a problem. The air grew thick, the tension crackling like static. Emily stepped between them, her voice sharp. Stop it, both of you. Tom, let's talk somewhere else. Please. But Tom didn't move. He looked at her, searching for the woman he thought he knew. 7 years of marriage, and now this. A lie exposed under the Miami sun. How many times, Emily, he asked, his voice quieter now, but heavy with dread. How many times have you done this? Her silence was louder than the waves. The truth was coming, and Tom braced himself for it. Emily's silence on the South Beach sand spoke louder than any excuse. Tom stood frozen, his question, how many times, Emily? Hanging in the air like a guillotine. Her eyes, fixed on the ground, betrayed her. The Miami sun blazed, but the chill of betrayal numbed Tom's senses. The two men nearby shifted uneasily, their earlier bravado fading. The tattooed one kicked at the sand, avoiding Tom's gaze, while the tall one muttered something and turned away. This was no longer their fight. It was Tom's and Emily's, and the truth was clawing its way out. Answer me, Tom said, his voice low, steady, but laced with a pain he couldn't hide. How many times have you come here? How many lies have you told me? Emily's hands fidgeted with the sarong, twisting it tighter. She opened her mouth, then closed it, as if searching for a lifeline that wasn't there. It's not like that, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. It was a few times, with the team, to unwind. That's all. A few times. Tom's laugh was sharp, cutting through the beach's hum of waves and chatter. You've been sneaking off to a nude beach with these guys, lying to my face, and you call it unwinding? The tattooed man stepped forward, his jaw set. She said it's not what you think, man. Let it go. His tone was defiant, but Tom caught the flicker of unease in his eyes. Tom spun on him, his patience snapping. You don't get to tell me what to do. Back off. His voice was a warning, and the man hesitated, then retreated, raising his hands in mock surrender. Emily's voice broke in, desperate now. Tom, please. I didn't cheat. I swear. It was just, I needed something different. Work's been stressful. In this place, it's freeing. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd make it into something it's not. Something it's not? Tom's eyes narrowed. You told me you were at yoga this morning, Em. You looked me in the eye and lied. If this is so innocent, why hide it? Why not tell me about your team outings? She flinched, her shoulders hunching. Because you judge me, like you're doing now. Tom shook his head, disbelief washing over him. 7 years of marriage, built on trust he thought was unbreakable, now crumbled like the sand under his feet. This isn't about judging you. It's about respect. You chose to hide this. You chose them over me. That's not true. Emily's voice cracked, drawing glances from a nearby couple. She lowered it, stepping closer. I love you, Tom. I didn't want to hurt you. I got caught up in the moment. It was stupid, okay? I am sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it, Tom said, his tone flat. He glanced at the men, who were now packing their things, clearly eager to escape the tension. Who are they, really? Don't give me that marketing team crap. I deserve the truth. Emily hesitated, her gaze darting to the tall man, who was already walking away. They're colleagues, Ryan and Matt. We've been working on a big project together, and they invited me here a few weeks ago. It started as a one-time thing, but I liked it. The vibe, the freedom. It wasn't about them, Tom. It was about me. The words hit harder than he expected. Not about them. Then why the secrecy? Why the lies? Tom's mind raced, piecing together fragments of the past months. Emily's late nights at the office, her guarded phone, the way she'd dodge questions about her day. He'd chalked it up to work stress, trusting her without question. Now, that trust felt like a trap. How long? He asked, his voice barely audible over the waves. How long have you been lying to me? Emily's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. A couple of months, she admitted, her voice small. It wasn't every week. Just sometimes. Tom felt the ground shift beneath him. Months. Not a one-off mistake, but a pattern. A choice, repeated over and over. He wanted to shout, to demand why she'd thrown their marriage away for this, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he took a step back, putting distance between them. You didn't just lie today, Em. You've been living a double life. No, she protested, reaching for his arm. He pulled away, the touch too much. Tom, it's not like that. I love you. I messed up, but we can fix this. Please. He looked at her, searching for the woman he'd married, the one who'd laughed with him over late-night takeout, who'd planned their future together. But all he saw was someone who'd chosen to deceive him, again and again. Fix this, he said, his voice cold. You broke it. Without another word, he turned and walked away, the sand slowing his steps, but not his resolve. Emily called after him, her voice fading into the beach's noise. Tom, wait. We need to talk. But he kept moving, the weight of her betrayal pushing him forward. The truth was out, and it was uglier than he'd feared. Now he had to decide what came next as Tom's footsteps echoed on the South Beach sand, each one pulling him further from Emily's desperate calls. Her voice, Tom, wait, faded into the crash of waves, but the sting of her betrayal clung to him, sharp and unrelenting. Months of lies, not just a single morning's deception, had shattered the trust he'd built over 7 years. The Miami sun beat down, but it couldn't warm the cold certainty settling in his chest. Their marriage was over. He didn't look back. The drive home was a haze. Traffic lights blurred. Car horns faded into white noise. Tom's hands gripped the steering wheel, his mind replaying Emily's words on the beach. Asterisk, a couple of months, just sometimes. Asterisk, not a mistake, but a choice, repeated and hidden. He thought of their late-night talks, her laughter, the plans they'd made for a future now tainted by doubt. Had any of it been real? The question gnawed, but the answer was clear. She'd chosen secrecy over him. He pulled into his driveway and sat in the car, the engine's hum replaced by silence. His phone buzzed, Emily's name on the screen. He let it ring, each vibration a reminder of her voice pleading for forgiveness. But forgiveness required trust, and she'd burned that to the ground. Tom stepped out, the humid air heavy, and walked inside. The quiet of the house felt different now. Not suffocating, but expectant, like it was waiting for him to decide what came next. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat at the kitchen counter, a glass of water untouched, his laptop open. He searched for a divorce attorney, the screen's glow casting harsh light on his decision. By morning, he'd made the call. The lawyer's voice was calm, professional, outlining steps Tom barely registered. Papers would be drawn up, assets divided, a life unraveled in legal terms. It felt surreal, but necessary. Emily arrived home hours later, the key scraping in the lock. She stepped inside, hesitating when she saw Tom at the counter. Can we talk? Her voice was soft, almost fragile, but Tom saw through it now. The woman he'd loved was a stranger, her words hollow. There's nothing left to say, Tom said, his tone even. He slid a folder across the counter, preliminary divorce papers, printed from the lawyer's email. I'm done. Her eyes widened, her hand reaching for the folder, but stopping short. Tom, no. We can work through this. I messed up, I know, but I didn't cheat. I never do that. He shook his head, a bitter smile tugging at his lips. It's not about cheating. It's about you deciding I wasn't worth the truth. You chose to lie, over and over. That's what breaks us. Emily's shoulders slumped, her voice trembling. I was stupid, okay? I got caught up in something dumb, but it wasn't about you. I love you. Love doesn't look like this, Tom said, standing. Love doesn't hide. It doesn't sneak off to beaches with strangers and call it freedom. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. She stepped closer, her hand outstretched. Please, Tom, don't throw everything away over this. You threw it away, he said, his voice firm. You decided your vibe was worth more than our marriage. I'm just following through. The silence that followed was heavy, final. Emily's eyes glistened, but she didn't argue. Maybe she saw it in his face, the resolve, the end of what they'd had. She turned and left the room, her footsteps fading down the hall. Tom exhaled, the weight of the moment settling. It hurt, but it was right. Days later, the divorce process began. Emily tried to call, sent texts pleading for a second chance, but Tom didn't respond. He met with the lawyer, signed papers, and moved forward with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. The house, once a shared space, became his own. He packed her things, left them neatly boxed for pickup. No fights, no drama, just closure. Weeks passed, and Tom found a new rhythm. He ran along the Miami boardwalk each morning, the ocean's breeze sharp and clean. Work consumed his days, his architectural designs sharper than ever, fueled by a focus he hadn't known he'd lost. Friends reached out, Kevin among them, checking in with quiet support. Tom didn't talk about Emily, but he didn't need to. The pain lingered, but it was fading, replaced by something lighter, freedom. One morning, he stood on his balcony, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise. The same sun that had blazed over South Beach now felt different, like it was his alone. He lost a marriage, but gained something else, himself. Emily's lies had cost her everything they'd built. Tom, though, was starting over, stronger, unshackled from doubt. The future was uncertain, but it was his to shape.